We have created in Adobe Illustrator 3 objects, a circle, a square, and call this a rocket ship. And for the rocket ship, I'm just taking the rectangle tool, making a rectangle, and then I'm switching to the pen. So you can just hit P, and I'm going to click in the middle of the top segment with the pen tool, and that creates a new point. And then you can just hold the Command key. That gives you the direct select arrow, and you can just pull that point up. Okay, so now let's copy Command C, copy the square, and let's go over into After Effects and make a new composition. So I'm just going to call this morph, and 3 seconds will be fine. Our HD settings, click OK. Now what we need to do is add a new shape layer. So go to Layer, New, Shape Layer. Twirl open the disclosure triangle. And from the Add button, I want you to add a new path and then add a new fill. All right, then open up Path, click on the word path, and then paste. So you're pasting in your square. And then click the stopwatch to create a keyframe at the beginning. All right, now I'm going to jump back into Illustrator and select the circle, Command C, come back with the word path selected. I'm going to move down in time. Maybe I'll go down to 20 frames. I'll go 15, and then paste. So now we already have our first morph. It's going to go from the square to the circle, and then again back into Illustrator, select our so-called rocket ship, come back, move down to 1 minute, sorry, 1 second, and then paste. And there we have it. I'll make my work area shorter. And now what you can do, if it's going kind of weird at the end here, you can put in more keyframes, like from the circle to the spaceship is a little weird. You could come in here and you could move these things around if you wanted to make it work more smoothly, possibly. So maybe that will help. Let's see, it goes like, that helped a little bit. Feels a little less awkward. All right, now let's do another one. Let's in this case, we're going to use masks. So let's go back into Adobe Illustrator. You can just select these and delete them. We don't need them anymore. In this case, I want you to create compound shapes. So compound shape is one that typically has a hole in the middle. So I'm just going to make, kind of an abstract shape like this. And then I'm going to put another shape inside it. And hold down the Command key and select all of it. And then go to Object, Compound, Path, Make. So now we've got a hole in it. Then I'm going to do another one that's considerably different. And again, put a little hole in the middle. Select all of it. Object, Compound, Path, Make. So we've got 2 abstract compound paths. Okay, so now let's select the first one, Command C, and let's go back here. Let's just do a new comp. I'll call this morph with masks. Say okay. Then we're going to add again a shape layer. And in this case, I'm just going to take the rectangle tool up here and make a rectangle that is the size of the entire screen. And then with this selected, I'm just going to paste. And so what that has done is it's created masks. Before we were doing the path and we added paths along the way. Now we've got masks. And if you open up the masks, for mask path, for both of them, click the stopwatch. If they're both selected, automatically, click one stopwatch, it makes a keyframe for the other one. And then we'll move in space. I'll go down to 1 second, back to Illustrator and select the other one. And then come back over here, and with both paths still selected, paste it in. So now we've got something like that. It's twisting all over. Now, if we don't want it to twist so much, usually we can reverse the paths in Illustrator. Here's reverse path selection. Let's see if that helps. So I did reverse path selection. And come down here. I'm going to get rid of these. Make sure I've got these two selected. Paste it in. Okay, that is a little less weird. So reverse path direction. So it's under Object, Path, Reverse Path Direction. Now another way would be, let's just turn off that shape layer and I'll leave it in. In this case, we have to do it on a regular solid layer. So that would be Command Y. Just take a solid color layer, make a comp size. Okay, now you can use the pen tool to create a mask on this. And open up your mask, go to Mask Path, put a keyframe, and then move in time. And then you can just simply change the, move this one over, deselect, and then reselect, and change the shape of it. And that's another way to create a morph. Okay, let's make a new object. I'll just call a new composition. And I'll just call this camera to glass. Now this is similar to what we've done before. I'm going to use the shape layer and add the path and the fill. And then with path selected, I'm not going to drag down camera and magnifying glass. What I need to do is actually open those in Illustrator. So you can come in here like to magnifying glass, reveal in Finder, then open it up, and then select the glass. Now, first of all, I want to start with the camera. So I'll take the camera, reveal, open it up. So I am going to have to put in a large rectangle in the background. Command C, come over here, Command V, get rid of that fill. Okay, now I've got the 3, and I'll add the stroke. Bring it up so I can see it. Then open up all 3 and put a keyframe for path. Then move down in time and copy and paste the magnifying glass. Okay. So now it's morphing into the glass. But we're not seeing all of them because I haven't selected all masks. There we go. This one, all. There we go. Okay, so with Morph PNG selected, I'm going to select both the image of the ketchup and the tomato and bring them into my timeline. I think I put the tomato on top. Okay, then let's select both of these in the timeline. And then we're going to go to Layer, bottom, Auto Trace. And when Auto Trace comes up, I want you to check Apply to New Layer. Say OK. So what it's done is it's created paths. So if we isolate these, we can solo them by clicking this column right here. So we've got one for the tomato, one for the ketchup, And what we're going to do is we're going to copy these. So like for the tomato, this is the tomato. I'll take the mask. Let's rename it tomato and copy it, Command C, and then paste it on the tomato, Command V. And then you can dump that layer. And then the next one, we're going to open that one up and open the mask up and name that mask, hit return to name it, ketchup. Copy that mask and paste it into the ketchup. And then you can delete that layer as well. So what we should have then on each one of our items is a path that goes around the object. Now each of these masks has come in on a blend mode of difference. I want to change that to add for both of these. And then we're going to copy each of the other masks and put it in the previous. In other words, I'm going to copy ketchup, Command C, and I'm going to paste it into tomato, Command V. I'm going to change its blend mode to none. And then I'll take tomato and paste it into ketchup and make its blend mode none. So what we're planning to do then is we're going to morph that tomato into the ketchup bottle, make it become the ketchup bottle. Okay, now let's select tomato and go up to Effect, under Distort, Reshape. And then for the source mask, we're on the tomato, so we're going to choose tomato as the source. The destination is the ketchup. Let's make the elasticity liquid and interpolation linear. And at the beginning, we're going to change the percent, leave the percent at 0, make a keyframe, and let's move down to like, I'll go to 1 second, and then crank this up to 100. Oh, wait a minute, before we do that, before we crank that up, I want to show you something. We have this line appeared. This means that this part of the tomato is going to move to this part of the bottle, which we don't want. So if you follow that line up and go over the end, you're going to see a circle appear. And you can drag that over. We want this to be more like over here. And then I want to add another one by holding the Option key. I'll click here. Okay, so this one I want to move up to probably around here. Then I'll crank this up to 100. And so now it's morphing up into the shape of the bottle. And you can see what happens if you move these guys around. It takes a minute to update it, but it'll get all distorted. So you can move these around in order to make it the smoothest transition possible. Then hide that layer and go to the ketchup bottle, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add the reshape. All right, so tomato. I want to choose, ketchup, tomato. Again, we're going to go liquid and linear. And then I'm going to move this over. Option, click to get another one. Move that up around here, probably. And then at 1, I'll make sure I'm on the keyframe. Then here, we're going to do it just the opposite. So at the end, it's going to be 0. And then at the beginning, it's going to be 100. Oh, I didn't do a keyframe. Beginning, we have 100. And then at the end, we have 0. So this is for the ketchup. Now, I don't know if I messed up my tomato or not. Yeah, I messed up my tomato. I put the wrong thing. So a tomato, we start out at 0, and then you end up at 100. Okay, so then about halfway through on the tomato, we're going to hit T for opacity, put a keyframe, move down like 20 frames or so, and then make it 0. So what's going to happen is it's going to transition into the bottle because the tomato just disappears and then the bottle. So with the tomato at the beginning for percentage, I've got a keyframe at 0, and then it moves up and goes to 100. And then the other one's just the opposite. So the ketchup starts out at 100. That means it's going to be in the shape of the tomato at the beginning. And then as it goes to the end, then it goes to 0, which takes it to the shape of the bottle.